Hello and welcome to the From the Finney podcast with me, Jake.
Me, Dan.
And me, Ollie. How we doing, lads?
Yeah, good.
Really
Thank
well,
you very
mate.
much. This week we'll cover what we know about R.O. Muric, the club having no bids on the table for Callum Robinson, no truth in the James Wilson or Keenan Davis links according to the LEP. Pre-season has finally begun and we've got some questions from fans and then we'll finish with our little guessing game. So, well, it's probably the best place to start. The fact that we've lost out on what was seemingly our number one goalkeeping target for the summer.
Ari Muric.
Have we lost out on him?
It seems like it, doesn't it?
Has he signed for Forest?
Well,
As good as, I would think.
I think it would take a miracle for it to
Yeah.
change.
I think there might be a miracle.
No.
Oh, is this Ollie withholding some information?
Nah, I just believe in Jesus.
There's one thing you do not strike me as, it's a religious man.
Nah, we have. I'm pretty annoyed actually that we have missed out on him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
But
is.
the whole thing's a bit weird with the Forest thing. So obviously it's not done yet. But
Yeah, you would have thought that City would have known that O'Neill was going to get the chop.
100%, they would have known 100%. But apparently the new lad from, I think he was at Nice, wasn't he? He wants the keeper.
Was he not at Rennes?
Oh, that was it, Rennes. He wants the keeper who was at Rennes on a free.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure I saw this afternoon though that he hardly played at all, if at all. So maybe we just want him to come in as a number two if they've got Muric.
Yeah, it sounds like it might be more of a club signing than an O'Neill signing.
Yeah, something that we're party to as well.
Yeah.
I don't know much about them. Do they have like a Ridsdale figure who does their stuff for them?
No idea, to be honest.
Don't know, haven't they got linked to George Mendes though?
Yeah, that's the thing, in it, this year and last year. But it sounds like it might be a club signing, in which case it'll probably go through in the next couple of days, which is very annoying from our point of view. Cause,
I mean, I've said it to both of you in the past that it's a bit annoying that something like this has happened yet again. I mean, I know my two examples that I'm going to mention when they eventually came here, didn't really set the world on fire. But when we're in League One, we were linked with Owen Doyle for the whole of the January window, and then ended up losing out on him in the last few days, and he went to Cardiff.
yeah.
And then again, Stevie May, I think it was one summer we were linked with him quite heavily, and he ended up going to Chef Wednesday.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say about those two is we were in League One at the time, weren't we?
No, I think Stevie May, we'd just come up, hadn't we?
Had we?
Either way, like I said,
Yeah.
I acknowledge that as signings, they weren't ones that came in and set the world on fire. But
Yeah. The Tendai Derico as well.
yeah, that's another one. Simon Grayson, that was his first year in the Championship with us.
Apparently that just needed a signature, and obviously ended up going to Burnley. But it sounded like with the Muric thing, we'd agreed it maybe a month ago, and he was obviously on international duty, and he literally just needed a signature, and then sounds like Forest have come along and just offered to pay more wages.
Yeah.
Which I'm surprised that City are that bothered about, really, because I think we'd be a better club. Obviously, he's going to start every week.
Well, what I thought about that was, I know it's a very different situation to what we usually have in terms of signing players that are on international duty, but I thought, do we not have the resources, if you like, to maybe send a representative out and get a contract signed at wherever he's based, whether he's in Kosovo, where he's from, or whatever?
No, North End, probably not, no.
Well, I'm pretty sure Trevor Hemmings makes the players get a ferry to Ireland, doesn't he? So I'm not sure he's going to fly to Kosovo.
Does he actually?
Nah, does he fuck? But do you know what I mean?
Fucking hell, I was going to say.
Yeah, that's what we should have done, Dan. You can't let a player that ideal fall through your hands like that. So
that's what I think Jake means in terms of it is a different situation with Muric in terms of it being done and them just offering more money and him being on international duty, so we couldn't wrap it up, or well, we assumedly couldn't wrap it up. But it's just simply the aggression and proactivity that we need to show with transfers.
Yeah.
Because we're not aggressive, we keep losing out on these players. And I mean, I know it turns out Doyle and may not have been massive misses.
Yeah.
But the principle still stands.
I'm pretty confident Muric is going to be one of the best keepers in the league, to be honest, next season. So, and it just would have been ideal, but obviously we're still going to sign a keeper.
Well, that's the next question, though, isn't it? I mean, Maxwell to Hibs, is it?
Yeah, Hibernian.
Yeah. And that'll take him to the end of his contract with us. So unless for whatever weird reason he signs a new contract with us, which I highly doubt, he's never going to play for us again. And I think it's been made pretty clear that the gaffer doesn't fancy Declan Rudd. Clearly, Hudson and Crowe aren't up to it. And that just leaves Ripley, and he's got a bit of a question mark over his head because he came in and got injured straight away. So, the next question is now, who do we move on to? Because we've lost out on our number one target.
You've got to look at Premier League loans because they are. Yeah. If you're at a Premier League club now as a kid, you've got to be a good keeper. So there's Jamal Blackman, who's not really a kid anymore at Chelsea.
No, he's 25, isn't he?
Yeah, I think 25. So
he was at Derby a couple of seasons ago, wasn't he?
No, you're thinking of Nick Blackman, the striker.
Yes, I am.
Obviously, they got the same surname, and there's Christian Walton as well, who's at Brighton. I think he's 23. Been at Wigan for a couple of seasons. He's a big lad.
He's 6'5", just like Muric.
Yeah, big lad. And then Freddie Woodman, who's quite young. I think he's 20.
The thing about Freddie Woodman is he's still all right in terms of height, but he's only played a handful of games, and that was in Scotland.
Has he been out on loan? I didn't know he'd actually.
Yeah, he had spells. He had a spell at Crawley, and then he's been at a couple of Scottish clubs as well. But he's only played a little bit for both. Yeah,
that'd be a risk. And then you've got. I don't know if you lads saw, but this lad called Travers made his debut for Bournemouth.
Yeah, against Spurs, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he had a worldie. He looks like a good keeper.
Apart from that, the only other senior football he's played is a loan at Weymouth.
Yeah, so obviously it would be a risk, but Muric has never played football, has he? So
I think I'd probably be happy with either Blackman or Walton.
I don't really know a lot about any of them, but
Blackman's 25, so he's not very young, but he's got a good amount of experience at senior level. So he played a full season at Östersunds in Sweden.
Yeah.
He's had a full year with Wickham, full year with Sheffield United, and went to Leeds last year, but he broke his leg, unfortunately.
Yeah,
sounds a bit like Pickford's progression through the leagues before we signed him on loan.
Yeah,
that'll probably take quite a lot of cash. So I don't know.
I think, to be honest, most Premier League loans would, though, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I'm just thinking of Nemecha last season. Obviously, he's a striker, same age as Muric. He had big clubs after him, so I don't know how we got that over the line in terms of wages. So I don't know what's happened with the City thing. And obviously, you'd think, Newcastle with Woodman, Brighton, and Chelsea, they'd all be on quite good wages as well.
Yeah.
So just have to wait and see. But it's quite annoying to miss out on him because Muric, and then you got Bauer as well. They're both probably 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, it would have brought something that that we definitely missed last season to the back.
Yeah.
Back five.
Yeah, so stuff like that happens, but it's just annoying, isn't it? But,
yeah.
I'll tell you what, boys, it's not a name that you've mentioned. I don't know if it's a name that might be realistic or not. Pontus Dahlberg from Watford, do you know him?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I think there's interest. I think there's interest in him.
Oh, do you reckon?
Yeah.
19-year-old Swedish keeper, just been capped by Sweden in the last few months.
What, at first team level?
At senior level, yeah. Got his first cap.
Went
out
on loan back to Gothenburg, where they signed him from.
That sounds like a good shout, Dan, to be honest. I think someone else has mentioned him to me, actually.
And I like my Swedes, obviously, having lived there for a year, so I keep up with young Swedish players.
Yeah, but just need to get something sorted. Obviously, there's a month now to the season.
Yeah, and we fly out to Ireland as well later this week, don't we?
Yeah.
Is it this week? Yeah. Is it?
Well, it won't be.
next week?
It won't be later this week because we're playing Brig on Saturday.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Start of
Yeah.
next week, maybe. That's another thing, by the way. Forest have flown out to Spain or somewhere like 2 days ago, and obviously
and they've only got 6 keepers with them, haven't they?
Well, it's not unheard of that a player flies out and joins a club at a training camp later.
I think there's a 5% chance, or maybe more, that we'll sign him.
Greg Cunningham came to Ireland and joined us after the fact when we signed him, didn't he?
I don't remember, to be honest.
Yes, I seem to recall it anyway. Could be wrong, but I seem to recall.
Is Robinson
out to Ireland and he joined us a couple of days later?
Yeah, has Robinson been back in training today?
No, he's back in on Wednesday, I think.
Is it? I thought he might be back today. Back on Wednesday, yeah.
Which I think with him and Maguire coming in on Wednesday, there's probably a slim chance that we'll see them against Brig, maybe second half.
Yeah, maybe. He does like to give most players at least a run out.
Yeah. But then with the second game coming against Cork, I suppose you could maybe say that they'd maybe get a bit longer there, but
yeah,
I think that brings us quite nicely onto the topic of Robinson, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely does. And I think you can absolutely say that there's some clever
shithousery.
Yeah, some clever wording going on, isn't there? We've mentioned in the past how the LEP seem to just be the club's unofficial mouthpiece, which is understandable. I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I think with them in the past sort of saying that we'd had an offer in for him and then obviously rejected it, and then the club this week coming out and saying that there were no bids on the table for Robinson. I think it's just some clever wording. The
most worrying thing about that situation for me is obviously he's made his mind up now that he wants to leave. Clearly, if his agent's been busy this week, it's clear that they're both pushing for a move, and it's clear that he's not going to sign a contract.
But the thing I'd say about that is, even if his agent is angling for a move, even if he's angling for a move, he's the type that I would never really worry about his performances if he does stay.
Yeah.
Like similarly to like how Hugill, his game didn't really drop even after he handed in a transfer request.
Yeah.
I think Robinson's the type to keep doing his best until he does eventually go.
It's quite
how relevant that'll be in terms of whether we actually keep hold of him through this transfer window, I doubt. But
the difference this year is that the window shuts the first week of the season, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So if he goes, we'll need to get someone in ideally before he goes. So obviously the club will know the situation, obviously. But it seems to be getting to the stage now where it's just dragging on a bit, and there's no hope of him staying now, I don't think.
No, I don't think there is either. There's like you said, there's no question about the fact that he's going to be leaving at some point, whether it's for a relatively decent fee this summer or a slightly smaller fee in January or on a free at the end of the season. Whichever way you look at it, he's gone.
I don't think we'll let it go to a free.
I don't think.
We'll probably offer him out in January if he's not gone by then.
Yeah, I can't see a club of our size letting a £10 million player go for nothing. You just can't see it.
Well,
no matter how close we are to top 6, top 2, whatever.
Hemmings definitely.
I think we'd have to be running away with the league title for him to stay.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen in Jan, does it? So does.
No.
Obviously, the I think it was Sky Sports said about Norwich 6 million.
Yeah.
You'd want double that, wouldn't you? Really?
At least.
Yeah. I think that was quite clear as well that other fans felt the same way in terms of what was on social media as well. And there was a few. We had a few replies on Twitter that were a little bit ridiculous in my opinion. I think one chap said triple the initial offer and then
offer some players as well.
And I mean, yeah, Robinson's good, but I don't think he's sort of £18 million plus a couple of Norwich players good.
I think if he had 3 years on his contract, he would be. But obviously, he's only got 12 months, hasn't he? So.
Well, that's the sticking point.
Isn't it? Yeah. Don't know, but obviously it's back on Wednesday, so things might speed up then. Who knows?
Yeah, I think, like you said, fingers crossed for the sake of it not dragging on all summer.
Yeah, I think he's been linked to all 3 promoted teams, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And then obviously Bournemouth, who look like they've moved on.
Yeah,
So
haven't they?
I've still got a feeling he might end up at Sheffield United.
I think it'd be a good fit, to be honest. There or Villa.
At Sheffield, he'd play up front, wouldn't he? Because of their system.
Yeah.
At Villa, he'd play on the left. So I hope he goes to Villa, me. Just don't know why. I just think it's the best fit, and I like Dean Smith. But
get that Grealish Robinson link up back again.
Yeah, but as Dan said, though, he's a good character.
Yeah.
So he's not going to cause any trouble, is he?
No.
Even if his agent is.
Is his agent someone we've dealt with
just on
before?
that one quickly on the agent thing? The worry for me is that I think Jordan Story and Ben Pearson or Ben Davis. There's definitely 2 more players in the squad who've got the same agent who are both showing similar signs of potential. So that I think the one worry for me is that if they both end up in a similar situation, that they've got 12 months left on the contract, they've improved a vast amount at the club. The last thing you want is the agent fannying around again, trying to get a move for their player.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand it's in their benefit to do that, but
how long has Ben Pearson got on his contract? Is it 2 years now?
2 years, yeah. So it'll be in the last.
So in this time next year, he'll be in the Robinson situation.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I would agree that that's a bad thing, but I mean, the point I want to make is, it's just my concern that if we don't aggressively pursue transfers like Muric, then players like Robinson and in the future Pearson and Story and Ben Davis, they'll all eventually outgrow us if we don't build the team around them enough to actually start competing for realistic levels of competition for promotion.
Yeah, I think that's part of. It's a double-edged sword. Like, we buy the players that we buy, and then I think naturally they're going to develop into something better than us. Like, Robinson's far too good for us.
We're basically
just
stepping stone, aren't we?
We are a stepping stone
at the moment. Yeah,
I know it's annoying, but the only way you can't be is to get promoted, really.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I know what you're saying, Dan. Obviously.
Well, that's exactly what I mean. But I mean, realistically, we can't get promoted unless we start pursuing these first choice transfers like Muric.
Yeah, I think Bauer obviously was the first choice, and we got him in.
Yeah.
So the Muric thing is very annoying, though.
But I mean, getting 1 or 2 of our first choices in a transfer window isn't going to be enough. We're going to have to really nail our first choice for every position that we want to sign.
Yeah, I don't think that happens.
I know, but I mean, that's what it's going to take to get us promoted.
I think obviously the five or six players that we've got back in now. I think I'm going to do a piece about how I'd say we're probably in the top 6 going into the season as we are. No one signed anyone yet, have they, in the division?
No, Bristol City have signed a few.
Bristol City have had a go actually, and Stoke, but no one else.
There's not been much though. I'm sure I read the other day that there's maybe 7 or 8 clubs, only 7 or 8 clubs that have signed a new player.
Yeah, it's obviously it's taken a while to warm up, but the thing is, I can't understand that because there's only a month now until it shuts, so it's going to be an incredibly busy month.
I think most of them signings as well have been free transfers or signings from lower league.
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a weird summer, actually, when you think about it in football.
Yeah, it's been very strange. I don't know, maybe we're starting to see clubs as well having to be more cautious now. So there's a lot of clubs probably in for the same players. Obviously, Hugo being one of them.
And I think as well, there's a lot more clubs that treading close to the line in terms of the finances that are going to have to start watching what they're doing. Like we spoke about it today, that like you mentioned with the piece that you're going to do, Ollie, that there's loads of clubs that are going to lose key players or have already lost key players.
Yeah, I think
go out with the money and splash loads of cash on bringing in adequate replacements.
Yeah, that kind of links into obviously what Dan was saying. You need to go for your first choice. So if we can get even 2 or 3 of them in, as well as Bauer, and then with the fixtures we've got in the first kind of 6 6 weeks, we can make like a decent statement early on rather than playing catch up.
Yeah, definitely.
So the next month is so important, and I think obviously Alex Neil knows that, and the club know that, but we're not being linked to players. I don't know if it's just quiet or the club are just keeping everything really quiet.
Maybe
Obviously, that takes on to the James Wilson and Keenan Davis.
Well, I think just quickly before you go on to that, with Robinson, like you said, it's dragging on a bit. You'd like to think that the club have got replacements in mind.
I know my replacement.
And ideally, you'd want that person in before Robinson leaves. And if you could have your way, Ollie, I think, well, me and Dad know who it would be.
Yeah.
The thing is, people will want someone with championship experience, won't
they? Are you going to leave the listeners waiting? Are you not going to tell them?
No, I'll leave them waiting.
You little tease.
Nah, I'm not sure people will have even heard of him. But Ashley Hunter from Fleetwood.
Yeah.
23 years old, plays on the left, cuts inside on the right, can play up front. He's mobile, he's quick. He can shift inside, make space for a shot.
Creates a lot of goals.
Yeah, he scores and assists as many. I think he got maybe 10 goals, 12 assists last season.
Yeah.
Good numbers.
And I think Blade Analytic on Twitter, if you know him, he obviously does all the stats. And I think only 2 under-23s had a higher XG and XA last season. So, and I think the club have an active interest in him as well, from what I've heard. So,
it'd be nice to see a player like that come in, someone who's got some good numbers to him.
He's a cracking player, but he just doesn't fit the experience box. But that'd be a typical PNE signing, and it'd be a very, very good signing. That I'm not sure how much it costs, to be honest, but I can't see it being over a couple of million. Might break the record. So let us know what you think of that suggestion, because it's the best suggestion anyone said all week.
In your own humble opinion.
in my humble opinion, yeah.
Moving on to sort of attackers and forwards, we've obviously been linked with James Wilson and Keenan Davis.
Yeah.
Which the LEP have come out and denied.
They've not played down.
It.
They haven't straight up denied it.
Yeah, they've played it down, haven't they?
Yeah, and usually if they even acknowledge an incoming rumour, that's at least proof that it's been talked about behind the scenes.
Yeah. I think I'm not sure about Keenan Davis, but I think there was definitely contact with James Wilson, which is not very inspiring.
No, really. But and again, it's another one that he fits the bill of a typical North End signing.
Well, I don't know about that really.
Yeah, I don't know about that actually either.
Well, I mean, he ticks one big box. He's on a free.
Yeah, but he's not.
But he's also not very young.
Yeah.
True.
Not very experienced, especially for his age.
Yeah, he's what's the word?
Shit.
He's old news. He's old news, really. He's I think his reputation carried him for too long, and now he's probably going to go back to the SPL.
Well, that's the thing. It wasn't even his reputation, was it?
It was just United, wasn't it?
Yeah, the reputation of the club that he came through the academy of.
And it didn't have one good season somewhere, like one good breakout season somewhere.
No.
United,
never.
Well, he had the year before he signed a professional contract with United. He scored a lot of goals in their youth team.
That's maybe what it is then.
And everyone was like, "Oh, he's the next big thing." And then,
in typical United fan fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose he was very much like Makeda's and
Yeah, I think he's been unlucky. Has he had
your Josh Harrops?
He's had a leg break, hasn't he? I think. Or
in fairness, Josh Harrop did something in the United first team.
Yeah, no, he did. That was a joke. So anyone listening, please don't get offended by that.
Yeah, but
there'll be a few.
Definitely avoid him. It's just weird how the LEP have come out and denied that. So.
Like we said before, though, they seem to be like the club's unofficial mouthpiece, and like the way that they with the Muric thing, it was all over social media and the forum like the day before they posted about it, saying that the deal was off. He was off to Forest, and then like half a day or a day later, the LAP were like, "Oh, North End have just inquired." It's like trying to play the whole thing down. Like,
things travel quite fast on Twitter, don't they?
Oh yes.
So they were probably about 2 weeks behind that. So it's just strange.
Well, I know.
They haven't.
The club read Twitter.
Of course they do, yeah. But the LEP haven't categorically denied the interest in Hugo.
No, they haven't.
Which is very important.
Do you know what? That is killing me. I want us to just get it done.
Honestly, Dan.
For any listeners that don't know, me, Ollie, and Dan have got a little group chat on Facebook, and Ollie just keeps dangling little bits in, just Dan up. And he basically Dan wants Hugo.
I had heard that Hugo was on the M6 last week, which is quite probably true because it's a very common travel way for anyone going north or south.
That is true.
So
I never might have been stopping in for a KFC at Charlotte Richard Services.
And apparently someone saw him at Starbucks in Deepdale. Oh. Which they definitely didn't. But
living it up. Make
sure you're free on Friday, Dan, because that could be the day.
I'm probably teaching.
This is the new Nugent, isn't it?
It's definitely the new Nugent. Obviously, we don't get Hugo. The LEP have denied the Keenan Davis, but in terms of profile, he's very similar to Hugo. Mm-hmm. So I think when you're looking at a striker, it's clear to see Alex Neil wants strength, pace, and genuine mobility.
Yeah, some power as well.
And they're few and far between. Obviously, Nemecha was another.
Oh, lads, I mentioned Clayton Donaldson as a joke in the group chat the other day.
Yeah, no thanks.
It's not even worth joking about that, Dan. It's just, Nah, I'm not going to sweep it under the carpet there.
But yeah, he made 6 appearances in the league and 1 in the playoffs against West Brom last season. And a lot of fans will immediately jump to he's not scored any goals, blah, blah, blah. But like you said, Ollie, he seems to be a bit of a grafter.
Well, everyone has their breakout season somewhere, don't they?
The thing I say about strikers with strength, pace, and mobility, if you had a striker with all those and a striker who was prolific, they'd be in the Premier League. Mm. So you can't. Obviously, Hugo scored his fair share, but he's not like a natural prolific striker. It's the same. Anyone like that's the same, I think.
If you can get a good partner for Hugo and put him in a system that works.
Well, that's what we had with Maguire, tucked in off the left. That was perfect. And Nemecha was the same. He had all the physicality, had the pace, mobile, but he just wasn't a natural scorer.
I think that'll come for Mecha though. To be fair.
That'll come. Yeah. The most frustrating about North End is that in the last few years we've had all the ingredients, but we've never had them all at the same time.
Yeah,
it's just so hard to find at this level. Tammy Abraham's probably the only striker I can think of who's got strength, pace, mobility, and just bags for fun. I can't think of any other striker at this level. So it's obviously we're shopping in a very small market.
Very.
But obviously the LEP said, what did they say last week? We'd offered a contract, or we're in talks with someone who's rejected a contract.
I think was it not that we'd met with someone who was out of contract but had also been offered fresh terms from his current club.
Yeah, so
or something like that.
An interesting option who fits that bill is Basala Sambu, who I'm pretty sure 99%.
Is that the kid from Everton?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure no one's heard of him, but he rejected a contract at Everton. He fits in with what the LEP said. He's a striker. He's mobile. He's quick. He's strong, and I think he scored like 15 last season in the under-23s. So that could be something to keep your eye on, like in the next couple of weeks.
Like you mentioned in the group chat, one thing we've not had for a while is like a young striker, like an actual prospect to really take in and develop as our own.
Yeah.
Like we seem to have done that with defensive players a lot recently, but not really with forwards.
Yeah.
And midfielders as well.
Yeah. Oh, obviously with like Alan Brown and
the last striker we brought in like that, and I could be missing someone here, but was David Nugent. Signed him from Bury at 18 years old, and
people will say Connor Simpson, but he was, how old was he? 17.
Yeah, but he was signed for the youth team, really. Wasn't he?
He's 19 now, isn't he? So
yeah, but that'd be a bit of a left field one.
Yeah, not a bad shout. Like you said, he ticks the boxes in terms of what the LEP have said.
Yeah. So we'll have to see, but I'm not quite sure who that player is. who they're talking about.
And then there's also been links with Mahoney as well.
Yeah. I think Grayson tried to sign him the summer. I think it might be the summer that he was leaving. We were interested when he was still at Blackburn.
Yeah.
Obviously, had a spell. Where was he? Birmingham last season.
Yeah, on loan from Bournemouth, wasn't he?
Yeah, and there was talk that Millwall had agreed to sign him for like 2.5 million.
This summer.
Yeah.
But then, haven't they just signed Jamal Lowe as well?
No, I think they're interested. I'm not sure they signed him.
Oh, I thought it'd gone through.
But obviously Mahoney fits the bill as well in terms of having a bit of experience. He's got 2 seasons at this level, I think.
And previous interest.
Yeah, and he's previous interest, and he's only 22 still. So that might be one, but he'd probably be 3-4 times more expensive than Ashley Hunter. But that's another one. Obviously, his move to Millwall hasn't gone through for whatever reason. So yeah, we might have snuck in with a bit of late interest.
I was going to say, I'm sure it was a journalist local to Millwall that reported that we were another club interested in him as well.
Yeah.
I've definitely seen
in that.
Stuff on their end on Twitter about it. But I don't know if they're like actual journalists or what. But
yeah.
Well, there's obviously a reason that's not gone through. So maybe there is. Maybe we've. I don't know. Come out.
Didn't we do that to someone last year where they had someone? They had someone pretty much wrapped up, and we came in and.
Last
Millwall.
No, not with Millwall, but with somebody else.
Wasn't it Medja? He was all pretty much set to go to Villa with Steve Bruce. He'd met with Steve Bruce and
yeah, that really
that was it.
Yeah, and then we came out of nowhere and kind of So we do that sometimes, don't we? Obviously, Bauer was known about 2 or 3 days before, but sometimes we pull off the odd like out of nowhere signing. So
if only we showed that impetus with players we identified from the start.
Yeah, even with Muric though, we knew about Muric before the end of last season. So some things get out and some things don't. It's just strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pre-season's finally here. The players are all back, and we're just over a month away from the start of the season. We still haven't announced all our pre-season games.
Oh yeah, there's still one to go, isn't there?
Still waiting on that.
I think the club are just forgetting that we're meant to have a game then, and they're just going to sack it off.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
To be honest, because who hasn't? I'm pretty sure
it would have been. Yeah, I suppose it would have been announced by now, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
I don't think we forget.
I think that game's meant to be in 3 weeks.
Yeah, was it not the Tuesday night game, that one?
Yeah, Tuesday after the Southampton game.
Yeah.
So that's a bit. I don't know if that's a concern or not, but it's just shocking from the club, innit?
Whether it's a concern or not, like you said, however you look at it, it's bad.
Yeah, it's bad. Neil won't be happy with that, will he? So
no,
it's just shit, really. Announce Hugo and announce pre-season friendly.
Happy fans and announce the return of the red kit.
Yeah, that's another thing. I like that red kit.
I didn't mind it.
Yeah, I thought it was quite smart.
Just very, very weird.
I just want to see Ben Pearson in it. I think it would have looked nice in it. I think that's
that Dan Wheeler-esque haircut.
Yeah, that's a club decision, because no one's bought the new kit.
Do you know what? Right after I finished uni, when I'm not in the best shape now, but when I was at my heaviest, just after I left uni, I was about to get the train down to Birmingham, where my girlfriend's from, to see her while she was still living down there. It was the weekend we beat Birmingham 3-1 at their place. And I got a picture with some of the lads at Preston train station, and I got a few comments like, "Oh, Ben Pearson's put on weight," and
I recall seeing that on Twitter.
Yeah. I recall seeing that as well. If only you were as good at football.
Oh, might be. Might just be an undercover talent. Late blooming gem at the age of 23.
Yeah. I think
24 by the time the new season rolls around.
Oh, yeah, we've seen Pearson in yellow, but it would have been nice to see him in red as well. Yeah. We'll have to see him in green again, which is fine with me. Because did we lose in that green kit? I don't think we lost, did we?
As long as we see him in an North End kit for as long as possible, that's fine.
Pretty sure he'll still be here.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to. Hopefully the weather's nice on Saturday, and just looking forward to seeing a few of the players: Harrop, Bowden,
Yeah.
Barky,
Yeah.
Hughes.
Just good to get footy back, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very good.
It's always a nice day as long as it doesn't surprise us and piss it down.
Yeah, which it has done a couple of times in the last few years when I've been at Brig.
Yeah.
But nah, just decent-ish weather. Football's back. Get some beers on the go. Sorted. Happy days.
Good times are back.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then Cork on Monday, is it? And then do we play Fleetwood on the Friday after?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
and
they
then
start going thick and fast, don't they?
yeah, and then before we know it,
I thought there was like a week's wait between games.
Yeah.
Not between every game, obviously, but like after break.
Well, yeah, there isn't in terms of games played, but for us there is because of the Cork game, and obviously it's in Ireland.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that leads us nicely into a break, boys.
Nice
one.
Nicely.
Welcome back to part 2 from the Finney podcast. We've got a new feature this week, so we're going to answer a few questions that we've put onto Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So the first question's from our most loyal fan, Useless45 on Twitter, and I'm pretty sure you're not useless, Angie, because you're always getting involved. So the question is, due to work on the training ground pitches at Springfields, including a new fibre sand base under the grass, does this sound like the death knell for the new training ground, or is it just a temporary upgrade until the new facilities are built? And that's a great question, to be honest, because I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I've heard about the new base under the main pitch. I think it is at Springfields.
Yeah. Which looks incredible, by the way.
Yeah, it does. Shout out to the groundsman Pete Ashworth, is it?
Yeah.
Shout out Pete Ashworth.
Yeah, it looks very good. But yeah, great question, Angie.
I don't think it does sound the death knell for the new training ground, just because there's already been a lot of outcry about the lack of movement on it, and I think if they were to come out and say anything, that, well, I don't know, because the lack of sort of movement and noise from the club on the training ground at the minute is starting to piss a lot of people off anyway, considering how much the club leveraged fans for getting it passed.
Yeah, and it was such a big moment in the community as well. It created such a buzz.
Yeah,
it'd just be a shame if it fell by the wayside. Really,
it felt almost, at least to me at the time, like it had brought a bit of unity to the community in Preston and bringing Preston fans together, which is, if you're a Preston fan of anything over sort of 5-6 years, then it's a bit of a novelty, to be honest.
Yeah. Especially when they started talking about building a good amount of living space and houses, because I was well up for getting myself a little 2-bed semi on Patrick Adjumang Avenue.
I think that's the other thing why fans feel a bit aggrieved, is that it's starting to feel like it's just been a bit of a ploy from the owner to get planning permission passed for his property developments.
Yeah. I've not heard anything about, obviously.
Watch it end up being a massive stables for resources.
Well, mate, they're missing a few of them around here, to be fair. But I've not heard anything about it being cancelled or anything. But the last thing I heard was that the plans had been scaled back quite a lot in terms of the spec.
But it was going to be nothing really like what had originally been planned.
Yeah. And obviously they've not even started. Were they meant to move in this summer originally? Or
It was meant to be ready for this season, I think.
Yeah. And they've not even started building it. So
damn Newts.
Yeah, that's the LEP getting involved again, peddling that Newts headline. I'm pretty sure there's no Newts in existence in Preston, but I don't know.
I think one thing to note, I think, for the new base under the main grass pitch at Springfields, is there possibly a link there to the audit that we had on the injuries?
That's the only thing I was going to say, because I've been down to Springs a few times. Pitch looks very good. well, it did look very good, but obviously you got a few players have just got caught in the turf.
Yeah, because Bowden's injury was at training at Springies last summer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Seemingly innocuous.
That might be a factor.
Yeah, I suspect.
I mean, training in some way definitely had an impact on the likelihood of our players to get injured, whether they got injured there in actuality or not.
Yeah, definitely.
The one thing they all had in common is where they trained with their club.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think the work.
I mean, all jokes aside, I wouldn't be too worried about there being a direct correlation between the training ground being fully scrapped and this new base layer or whatever it's called. Because I mean, it might just be a case of club just keeping up conditions at the training ground, just so they're fit for use, whether it's to do with the training or injuries or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to answer Angie's question, I don't think it's not the death of the new training ground, but I think it obviously says that we'll be staying here for a couple of seasons at least.
Yes, definitely. I can't imagine it was cheap to do what they've done. So
yeah, exactly. So they get a bit of use out of it, and then I think are the youth players staying there when we are supposed to leave?
Yeah, because they're at UCLan at the minute, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's obviously just public use as well.
Yeah.
That's bad for the championship, isn't it?
Hey?
That's bad for the championship, isn't it? Using a local uni for your youth team.
Yeah, definitely. But anyway, the next question that we're gonna try and answer as best we can is from excuse me, is from Tom Coulston. I think I'm saying that right on Instagram. Who's asked how many players do you see us signing this summer? For me, I think we probably need, on top of Bauer, another 3 or 4 coming in.
I'd say we probably need 4, but I reckon we might only sign 2.
2? Jesus. Yeah.
Nah, I've just got a feeling we'll be left wanting.
Maybe. I think we'll sign 4 or 5. I think we might even sign 5. But...
I love your optimism, Ollie.
Well, we'll sign a keeper. We'll sign a winger. We might sign 2. We'll sign a striker. And then, depending on any outgoing activity, we might sign another midfielder. But to answer the question, I think 4 at least.
Another 4, or including Bauer 4?
Another 4, yeah. Another 4.
So I'm gonna say we need 4. I think we'll sign 2, maybe 3 at a push.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dan. I think we probably need another 4, but I think we'll sign maybe 2 or 3.
I think we'll have by the time we're back from Ireland, I think we'll sign 1, maybe 2.
Well, because I think we're going to sign a goalkeeper specifically, and I think we're going to sign a attacker who can play on the wing and as a striker.
Yeah, I feel like.
No, we'll sign a specialist striker, no doubt. We need to. Yeah, we will.
Yeah, but we've been saying we need to for the last 2 years.
His name's Jordan, and he's gorgeous.
Gorgeous Jordan.
Yeah. So but there's no way we'll only sign 2 more. If we do, it'll be riots from Dan.
Yeah.
So last question is from Sam Whedon on Facebook. Honest opinion on the amount of money going around the championship. Is it sustainable, and should North End be doing similar? So I'm guessing he means, should North End be spending unsustainable amounts of money?
Well, I mean, if we were to match the money that's being spent by other clubs, it would mean probably breaking financial fair play rules.
Yeah.
And
to answer the first part of the question, though.
Yeah.
What's your honest opinion on the amount of money going around? I think it's quite good for P&E, because I think now we'll start to see clubs have to be very careful.
I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because I completely agree with what you said, Ollie, but then on the other hand, you're going to get fans that don't look at it that way and just go, well, if we don't do what the rest of the league's doing, then we're going to be shit and we're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, but if you look at the league, probably in the last 2, 3, 4 years, you'd say probably 15, 18 teams have spent a lot more than us, and only 3 teams can go up.
Yeah, true.
So you're looking at now 12 plus teams. They're going to be really tightening the finances. So I think it's obviously not sustainable, and I think it's a good thing now for us.
Yeah, I think
in the same way that you'd call it a double-edged sword, it also sort of becomes a no-lose situation for us because, with the greatest of respects, screw the fans, if you know what I mean.
There's no respect in that comment, Dan.
No.
There's no respect.
Well, what
that's like starting a sentence with, I don't mean no offense, but
yeah,
you're clearly going to be offended.
Well, no. What I mean is, the fans that will complain about us not spending the amount of money are the type that aren't really going to be happy unless we succeed all the time.
Yeah, true. You've got plenty of them,
and we can't realistically be expected to keep up like for like with the amount of money being spent. So if we do stagnate because we can't keep up with the money, it's not realistically our fault. Because we're not bringing in the amount of money to be able. I
think just before you say anything, Ollie, to counter that, I think there's a level above what we're doing, which is still below what the rest of the league's doing.
I 100% agree. The thing I was going to say was, you've seen Millwall. I think Dan mentioned before they had interest in Jamal Lowe.
2.5 mil
for 2.5. Mahoney for 2.5. And they're the kind of fees that you've probably got to pay now.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm talking about is we can't raise that sort of money naturally. The way we could realistically spend that money is getting it out of Trevor Hemmings, and whatever your opinion is on what he does, like, I know he spends $5 million a year on wages and such like, but realistically his money is the only way we're going to be paying out that sort of transfer fees, because we're not getting it from ticket sales or merchandise, are we?
No, but surely you could say the same about Millwall.
Yeah, in fairness, I think we've spent $5 million in the last 18 months.
Yeah, which for us is quite a lot.
And obviously Bauer, it was a free transfer, but the wages on Bauer will be quite decent. So we're definitely moving in the right direction.
Well, I mean, we're spending more money than we were 5 years ago, but
yeah, even we're spending more money than we were 2 years ago as well.
But it's just a case of whether our increase is going to be enough, I suppose, is the question that we're being posed. But
well, I think to answer the second part of Sam's question, no, I don't think it is sustainable. You saw toward the end of last season the amount of clubs that were coming out in the press as having some pretty serious financial issues on the horizon.
Yeah.
So on the whole, no, I don't think it is sustainable unless, and I think there has been talk of this happening, unless the TV deal for the Championship, the Football League, is restructured and there's more money put into it.
But then Leeds will get 75% of that money anyway.
Yeah, true. But if that happens, then obviously there's going to be more money available for clubs to spend.
Yeah.
Yeah. To answer the last point to Sam, I think we should just keep doing what we've been doing. But obviously, naturally, you have to start spending a bit more. Obviously, Potts was a bit more than what we usually do. Stockley, Story. And then if we're going to sign a striker, it's probably going to be similar.
Yeah.
Similar sort of fees.
So the trajectory is looking positive then, isn't it?
Yeah, and the most important thing is as well, we've probably got 15, 16, 17 players who Neil likes and they're good Championship players. I'm not sure how many other clubs have that this summer in particular. So I'd say we've got a head start on a lot of clubs. Just need that extra bit now.
Well, you're going to be putting your heart and soul into a piece for the website about that, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm quite positive, to be fair, about... Obviously, the Muric thing's annoyed a lot of people, but...
shit happens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, wouldn't be a North End window without some fans being upset.
No, exactly. And it wouldn't be a North End window without are we going to break our transfer record or not? I suppose we'll just have to wait and see on that one.
I suppose I've said I'm not one of the people that bothers about it anymore. I definitely used to be, but there will definitely be that sort of interest when it does happen for me. 100%. I reckon.
Definitely.
Because I'll just that's finally happened. Maybe people will shut up about it.
I couldn't care less, me. Honestly, could not care less.
It'll be one of them that when it happens, people immediately find something else to start moaning about. So,
but the thing is, it's going to happen now. Obviously, it's going to have to happen because of inflation. But that doesn't mean that the players are going to be. He's going to be a better player.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. So
It's just going to be that what we would
the
pay.
market is completely distorted now. So it doesn't matter how much you pay for players. It just does not matter anymore.
I mean, there's players that we could probably buy for 2 million, which would break our transfer record, who wouldn't make it into the first team.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. So it's all a bit of a gamble, but I like the way we're doing it.
Yeah.
Just need that little bit more. I agree. We need that little bit more.
Yeah.
Right. Dan, it's time to step up, son. Yeah, so we'll head into the unnamed feature / guess the player / whatever the hell you want to call it.
Are we just going to end up calling it guess the player? Because
but that's a shit name.
Guess who?
Mate, again, shit name.
Well, I mean,
I know it is what it says on the tin, but
yeah, I was going to say
we'll go with that for now.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's better than consistently referring to it as yet untitled.
Yeah, true. Right, I'll just run over the rules then for anyone that may have forgotten, and more importantly for you, Ollie.
Yeah, go on then.
So it's one guess per person per clue. You have to say stop before you shout your clue out, and if you're going to guess, it has to be the full name, so it has to be the first name and the last name.
Okay.
And if we call it at the same time, if we both say stop at the same time, it's up to Dan to choose who goes first, or me if it's me, or you if it's you, Ollie.
Okay.
All right. So over to you, Dan.
Right. I have my player of choice. So clue number 1.
Start.
Sorry?
I said that's a good start.
Oh. Spit it out, Dan.
Steve Harvey doesn't get this kind of treatment.
I don't know who Steve Harvey is.
Never mind.
Right. Clue number 1. He was born in Bristol on October the 8th, 1984.
Okay. So he's 35.
34, yeah.
34. Okay.
I was gonna say Matt Hill, but he's older than that. Sorry if you're listening, Matt.
Outed as being older than you are.
Yeah.
How embarrassing.
He'll kill me for that as well.
Clue number 2. He began his career and made his breakthrough at Bristol City.
Is this Matt Hill?
It is not Matt Hill.
Nah, I don't know.
Clue number 3. His middle name's a colour.
His middle name's a colour?
Yeah.
Jesus, not purple, is it?
No.
No idea.
I've got someone, but I'm going to hold off.
Clue number 5. He last played in 2014.
2014.
Stop.
Go for it.
Is it Jamie McAllister?
It is not.
Oh,
it's a good shout though. To be fair.
Okay.
I just know he played at Bristol City for quite a while.
Yeah.
No idea.
Clue number 6. He last turned out for Hayes and Yeading Football Club, or Yeading, or whatever it's pronounced as.
Stop. This could be completely wrong. Paul Hayes?
No.
Okay.
Clue number 7. He's a right-footed winger. Or was. He's not officially retired yet. But he last played 5 years ago, so.
That's very specific.
So he retired when he was quite young?
He retired when he was 29, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. No.
The fact that you've said he's a right-footed winger, I don't know if that's he was a right winger and you're trying to throw us off, or if he was a left winger.
No, it's because I know he was right-footed, but I genuinely cannot remember which side he played on.
Oh, right, fair enough. No, yeah, next one.
Right, number 8. He moved to PNE after a short loan with Hereford United.
Oh my God! Come on, give us a year.
That would have been in 2006.
Oh, Jesus.
This is still early.
2005 rather. Sorry.
This is still early in my PNE career. So 2005. A winger from Bristol.
Stop.
Jake.
Is it Lewis Neal?
It's not.
Nah.
He was a left-footed left winger.
Yeah, it was.
So number 9, he was on the books for 4 years, but made less than 10 appearances for the club. Spending the majority of his time out on loan. Ollie.
Stop. Joe Anienza.
Yes.
Oh, fucking hell.
I thought I had you. I had you there. I got onto clue 9 as well.
I don't know what triggered that, but
I was gonna say, where did that come from?
I don't know. It just came from nowhere. That.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Famous for spending most of his time on the ground.
Yeah.
That was a
I
good
think
one.
that the 10 appearances in 4 years gave it away.
Yeah, I would. I
My,
definitely wouldn't have got that.
my last clue was loaned out to Bury, Carlisle, Crewe, and Brighton.
That wouldn't have helped me at all.
Before
No,
joining
it wouldn't
Carlisle.
have me either.
And then the club he played for the most in his career were Bristol Rovers, the rivals of his boyhood club.
Still wouldn't know.
For whom he made 62 appearances, so a bit of a journeyman.
Yeah, I would. You could have literally said his first name is Joe, and I still wouldn't have guessed.
Shout out Joe Anienza if you're listening.
Yeah, I'd like to know if he is.
Something tells me he's not, but
No, I don't think so.
shout out. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice one.
All right, cheers, boys.
Cool.
Good to do that. Enjoyed
Indeed.
that one, Dan.
Yeah, good one. That.
I'll get you one day.
I've got a good one next week, honestly.
So yeah, thanks for listening to episode 5 of the From the Finney podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully we're getting better every week. You can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and you should also now be able to tell your Google Home, if you have one, that you want to listen to the From the Finney podcast, and it'll play the latest episode.
Google, play From the Finney.
Now you got to say, "Hey Google."
Hey Google.
Nah.
Oh, you've just activated mine.
Yes. There we go.
This is a very embarrassing way to end, boys. So,
Yeah. You can also keep in touch with us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You just need to search for From the Finney and you'll find us. And don't forget to check out the website, which is www.fromthefinney.co.uk, for all of the content that we'll be publishing throughout the season from the numerous writers that we've got, all of whom hopefully will be getting on the podcast at some point. So yeah, stay in touch on social or wherever, and we'll see you in the next episode. See you later, boys.
Nice one. See you,
lads.
Dave. See you, Dan.
See you later.